like clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, Boruto chapter 66 preview. This right here is going to be my opinions and my predictions about the next chapter without the spoilers actually being out. This right here is a very critical time, to be honest. If you guys don't know, I personally believe the full chapter spoilers is probably going to be out within the next 2 days or something like that. Keep an eye out for that. I'm most likely going to be making a video about that. And honestly, I'm probably going to be talking about this chapter as well in a couple of hours. Around 2 o'clock, I think I'm doing a podcast with Naruto Explained. Link is going to be down in the description down below. But without further ado, let's get into my ideas. Now, there's a couple of things that we have to get through specifically with this chapter, and I think it's going to be very important. I think one of the biggest things is going to have to be Boruto. Right now, as we speak, Momoshiki is in full control over Boruto. We don't know how that happened. We don't know why that happened. What we originally thought was that when Boruto was low on chakra, Momoshiki has the ability to then take over Boruto's body. But this right here was a completely different scenario. Boruto was damn near full chakra. Boruto had a copious amount of chakra, and Momoshiki legitimately just asked Boruto, like, yo, let me take over your body, and that right there actually happened. So as of right now, I'm not completely sure exactly what Boruto is going to be up to, but one thing that we do know for sure, there is a very good possibility that in the next chapter, or potentially in the upcoming chapters, Boruto is going to take back over. Now the big question is going to be, when is that going to be? How much damage can Momoshiki actually do in the body of Boruto before that event actually happens? In the last chapter, we understand that things could have gotten extremely hectic. Now, in this specific chapter right here, I personally believe, again, a very good chance that Boruto takes back over, but specifically, what is going to happen for Boruto to take back over? And is that going to be a potential catalyst for Boruto to eventually control Momoshiki? One of the things that a lot of people have actually been saying is that, hey, the Jogan is possibly going to be one of the ways that Momoshiki is going to be controlled by Boruto. Are we going to see the Jogan pop up? I doubt it, but again, these are things that we have to look for and triggers that we have to identify as to how Boruto can eventually control Momoshiki, because we see him post time skip. He looks like he's in fair control of the karma seal. He still looks like he's 100% good. We understand, speaking of percentages, right now he's about 80% Momoshiki, and that right there was just in a span of about 1 to 2 years. In 3 years, how is Boruto still in control? These are going to be some good questions that we could potentially get the answers to in the next chapter. Now, another thing, Kawaki had a bunch of questions surrounding him in the last chapter. My personal opinion is that we're probably going to get to see Kawaki fight in this next chapter. A couple of things. Kawaki got his karma seal. How in the world did he get his karma seal back? We have a bunch of speculations. I personally believe that Amado gave it to him. I think a lot of people also believe that's the case as well. But one, why did he give it to Kawaki? Why did Kawaki take it? And of course, when did this happen? Now, if you guys don't know, I made a video basically detailing and breaking all this down, but it's always nice to get that confirmation from the actual characters in the actual series. Not only that, a bigger question is going to be, what is in Kawaki's eye? Kawaki's eye kind of looks regular, kind of looks different. I personally believe it's going to be a scientific technology dojutsu. I'm not completely sure, but in the next chapter, we're most likely going to get to see some more information about the eye. I don't necessarily expect us to, hey, get a full blown actual explanation about the eye, all of its abilities, the name, give us the whole rundown. No, I don't expect that at all, but I do expect Kawaki to potentially use it and for us to potentially get more information about it. I think this right here is going to be a very important thing for Kawaki's character overall, mainly because as of right now, Boruto and Kawaki, they are in the range where they're, I wouldn't necessarily say stronger than Naruto and Sasuke, but they're very, very close. This eye right here could potentially put Kawaki above them. Now, this next chapter is essentially shaping up to be, I don't want to call it a 2v2, but it's kind of shaping up to be a 2v2. Right now, we have Kawaki plus Naruto potentially fighting against Code and Borushiki. Now, I say that very, very disappointed. The reason why I say that disappointed is because Shikamaru is going to be in the middle of everything. Shikamaru in the last chapter seemed like he was taken absolutely captive by Code and Borushiki. Now here's the thing, I have a lot of respect for Shikamaru. I strongly doubt that Shikamaru will come into a situation like this and just not have a plan. That's just not P. So I personally believe that this right here may all be a charade. Shikamaru may have actually planned to get kidnapped by Code. As of right now, what we do understand is that this right here seems like it's right in Shikamaru's wheelhouse, but the Boruto writers, they're portraying it as Shikamaru is being completely useless. Now here's what I mean by this being completely in Shikamaru's wheelhouse. Shikamaru's go-to move is obviously the shadow paralysis jutsu. What we've seen so far is that Code cannot absorb chakra. as of right now, Shikamaru can instantly put Code under a shadow paralysis jutsu. Instantly. Now, here's the thing. Are they gonna do that? We've seen the Boruto writers before in the past have the old generation characters play a role. Is this now the role that Shikamaru is supposed to play? Is he supposed to play the damsel in distress? Or is this right here all a part of a plan that Shikamaru has came up with, and at the end of this chapter, we come out thinking that Shikamaru is a genius? This has happened multiple times. I personally believe that right there is most likely going to be the case. But again, if it's not, he's really just a damsel in distress. For one, I think he probably should die, because I don't necessarily want to see Shikamaru being a damsel in distress. It's essentially just ruining his legacy. But also, it would essentially digress, the chapter itself would digress into a 2v2. Kawaki and Naruto again, which would be a very interesting thing. I definitely do want to talk about Naruto in a few seconds, versus Momoshiki and Code. Now, I talked about Naruto. Here we go. Naruto in this chapter is going to be very important. A couple of questions that we do have about Naruto are going to be extremely important, not only to Naruto, but to the overall series of Boruto. For one, the biggest one, does Naruto still have Sage of Six Paths mode? We understand that he has Sage mode, but does he have Six Paths Sage mode? We understand that he need, or kind of needed, All Tail Beast for him to have Six Paths Sage mode, but then on the other hand, he got Six Paths Sage mode directly from Hagoromo. We also see Naruto tap into Six Paths Sage mode without Karma being activated. A bunch of things seem very promising for Naruto still having Six Paths Sage mode, but no one knows for sure. If Naruto is genuinely going to be fighting in the next chapter, we will know. I don't want to say for sure, man, because Naruto has this tendency where he likes to go into fights not necessarily his full self. The first time that he actually tried to fight against the fused Momoshiki, he was in base. The first time he tried to fight against Ishiki Otsutsuki, he was in base. The first time he tried to fight against Jigen, he was in base. And this right here is going to be very important, because a lot of people are going to look at the last chapter and say, hey, he didn't turn Six Paths Sage mode. He obviously doesn't have it. But one thing that we do have to understand, it's not in Naruto's tendencies to start off in his full and most strongest form. Now, specifically with Naruto as well, it's going to be very huge to see exactly how he stacks up against Code. One of the reasons why I think it's going to be very important is because we've seen how Boruto stacked up against Code. Now, obviously, we were just talking about a little bit earlier how potentially Kawaki and Boruto are in the same tier with Naruto and Sasuke now, with the advent of the second stage of their Karma Seal. Hypothetically, if Naruto completely struggles versus Code, and we understand that Kawaki seems clearly above Naruto, we can then start the notion that, hey, Boruto and Kawaki have officially surpassed Naruto. I know I made videos about this, made statements about this. Hey, Kawaki is the strongest genin, even though people like to call Naruto still a genin. It's very, very possible that we are now getting into the point of the series where the new generation characters are going to officially be surpassing the old generation characters. And if that is the case, we could then potentially see some upgrades or some potential buffs for Naruto and Sasuke to keep them in the same category with Kawaki and Boruto, so they don't get too far apart with Naruto and Sasuke. That right there is just my opinion. But a couple of things that I definitely do want to say. I think the next chapter is probably going to be one of the best chapters so far. I think this right here is going to be the climax of this arc. Now, the overall biggest question is going to be, where the hell is Sasuke? Are we going to see Sasuke in the next chapter or not? I personally believe that an appearance of Sasuke would be kind of bad for a couple of reasons. The first point I kind of talked about multiple times. If Sasuke is not in the Hidden Leaf Village, there is no security in the Hidden Leaf Village actually protecting a model. If that is the case, we are in a world of trouble. Code has the ability to just open up portals and literally go directly to the Hidden Leaf Village, and Naruto, Sasuke, and everybody else would be left stranded. Hypothetically, if Kawaki and Boruto don't necessarily have their Karma Seal dimension swapped and completely down pat, which most likely they don't. Now, not only that, if Sasuke shows up, it would then create an imbalance of the actual battle. We won't see Naruto go fully all out. My fear in the next chapter is that we'll leave still having questions of if Naruto has Six Paths Sage mode. I want most of my questions answered in the next chapter. Does he have Six Paths Sage mode? Is Kawaki and Boruto stronger than Naruto? What the hell is Kawaki's eye? How did Kawaki get his Karma Seal? Is Boruto going to take back over his body? Just a bunch of stuff. But let me know what you guys think about this chapter in the comment section below, and give me some of your predictions. Honestly, I think it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what you guys think in comparison to the actual spoils that's probably going to be coming out in a couple of days, probably tomorrow or probably even on Monday. But let me know what you guys think. It's been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.